Eye Podcast. The number one show to bring you all things Club America in English. From tactical analysis
Pelota para la banda izquierda.
to player updates. We've got you covered on all the latest news on Las Águilas. Now, let's start the show. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all things Club America in English as we gear up to the preseason ahead of Saturday's matchup against Inter Miami in Vegas. And then, of course, we got so much more to talk about in regards to the league and everything going on with the U23s kind of stepping up and taking part of the start of the league in regards to the first team not being available because they're still doing preseason. So, we have a full show. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. And joining me today to run down everything with Club America is none other than everyone's beloved and favorite cowboy, Dylan. How are we doing, my friend?
Doing good. Sorry I'm late. Welcome everybody to the show. Glad to have some Inter Miami fans here too. This would be a great show.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great show. We're going to get some Inter Miami experts in here. And, well, I might as well just do that. Let me introduce none other than Daniel and Chris from the Battered Heron Inter Miami podcast. Did I get that right, gentlemen? I'm terrible with names sometimes.
Battered Herons, Inter Miami podcast. We've been doing it for this is our fourth season now, so pretty messy for everybody out there that wants to know if we're one of the plastic fans. We were here before Messi, so we are not the plastic fans. Chris, you are on mute, I believe.
So. Yeah, you're actually right. It's pretty typical. I'm on mute, and you're absolutely right. We're before we came in before Messi. First of all, I have to commend your intro. Like any intro with an eagle is amazing. So, congrats on that. Like I am going to definitely steal that and put that in our intro right away.
Absolutely, thank you.
Reason, we're just gonna start. Nobody knows what sound the heron makes, so we're just gonna tell everybody that's what a heron sounds like.
Yeah.
Hey, go for it. I don't think anyone would argue against that with you guys. So, by all means.
But well, yeah, it is a pleasure to be on here. We appreciate it, man, having us on.
Yeah, much appreciated. Yeah, we've been doing this in this space for a couple years now. You know, covering the team before Messi, and then of course after Messi, it's been fun. A lot of dedicated fans, and it's definitely been a really good experience.
No, absolutely, it's great, and I know that you guys have definitely been covering the team and have done an extensive great job with it from the looks of it. And I know that we've had a couple of colleagues go on and speak to you guys before too. So I mean, you guys come with very good, highly recommendations. So. Yeah, I mean, we're excited. This should be fun. Obviously, a lot of people want to know exactly whether or not they're going to see Messi play on Saturday, and I'm sure you guys will give us kind of the answer regarding to that. But besides Messi talk, I think there's a lot more to kind of break down here, Dylan, and I guess we might as well just jump into the preview because this should be a fun matchup. I think both teams are coming into this one. Obviously, both starting off their preseason, even though it's a little weird that we already started our very own league. So,
right, how many games are into it? Are you already?
Only one. We're only one game into it so far.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is just a random friendly, and then you go back to the second game right after.
Actually, we have our second game on Thursday against Tijuana, and then we have the preseason on Saturday. But don't worry, our players are right now in San Diego. They're not even worried about the league. We're using our under 23 squad. They're the ones taking care of business right now in regards to the first team. The first team's in San Diego getting preseason done, which is actually exciting, Dylan, because we haven't had a proper preseason for this squad in about 2 years, I want to say. It's always seemed very chaotic back and forth, and it's like a quick start, and especially after being a three-peat champion, you feel like you never really have an opportunity to start preseason with such a quick and chaotic start to the season with Liga MX.
Yeah, it seemed kind of weird too because I don't remember this happening last year. I feel like we had those 2 weeks off after winning, the Apertura, and then then we got back into the groove of things. But this it's a little different right now. It is a I guess a weird place right now for the team. But it's actually getting to see some of the regular starters that we're used to seeing, some of the big stars that we see for America play. So that's really exciting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Should be fun. Should be great. And
So
yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry to cut you off.
no, go
So
for it.
you guys started your season, but your A team isn't playing in those games.
Correct.
Correct.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it just? Was it just? I mean, I don't even know if they're. I mean, I guess technically the first team players, but I mean they're not rested or started. But was Nested and didn't Nested play?
Yeah, we had about we had 3 players from the senior team that
two or
played in the
three.
first matchup, which
Yeah.
was the backup goalkeeper, a backup center back, and then kind of another backup midfielder. So it wasn't really any A-level players either. So yeah, it's. I know it sounds
Is that
crazy. It
normal?
sounds weird.
Yeah, it does sound crazy. Is that normal?
No, it's not. This
No.
is why I'm saying that this is so exciting
okay,
because
Okay.
this team hasn't had a preseason in such a long time because it's been so quick, the turnaround with Liga MX starting so soon, and then in the summer you have all your A-list players playing in international duties like Copa America, Copa Oro. So you have all these players that are absent and aren't really able to do preseason with their
But it's-
squad, and you just jump right into the start of the season. And so what America did this time around was that they decided that what we're gonna do is we're not gonna worry so much about the start of the season. We're gonna give the youngsters the opportunity to kind of make a name for themselves, and then we'll do a proper preseason. We'll train, and then we'll have a proper preseason matchup, and then we'll start slowly kind of adjusting ourselves back into the swing of things.
That's very interesting. I had never heard of that. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
the
first for
last-
us. Trust us.
Well, the
But-
last game that you guys had, you guys played against Querétaro.
Yes, that was the
say that
matchup
right?
that. Querétaro.
And Querétaro. You guys played against them, and you actually won. They got a red card in that game. But
Yes.
you guys actually pulled off a win in that game.
Yes, correct. And that was, I want to say 90% of those players were U23 players. So a lot of them were making their debut for the first time. A lot of them were barely starting to kind of, get a taste of what professional football was like. And I mean, we got to give props to the kids. They came out, they demonstrated that they wanted an opportunity. And they're going to have a second one against Cholos on Thursday because they're going to be the ones to take care of that game as well. So
That's really
it's
good,
interesting.
It is. It's very interesting. I mean, I don't know. It's you guys got a game before us, and I anticipate that you're going to see some starters starting to take some time into the game. No, like at some point.
Yeah, our starters are your starters.
No, your starters, especially since you guys are just getting into sort of the swing of things.
No, yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, yeah, the majority of all the players are starters and bench players that are out in preseason right now. So it's we're anticipating a good 45 to 60 minutes of the full starters, and then we'll do some substitutions. But still, even the substitutes going in are borderline starter players as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I might as well just jump into this because I think with your question, I think we already kind of opened the floodgates into what this game is potentially going to be. So obviously, both teams are coming into this as preseason. I think for your guys' perspective, it's a little bit different than ours. Like we just explained, ours is a little bit more different, right? You don't really hear about a team starting their season and then still having to kind of go through preseason themselves.
Right.
What is it that you guys are looking for within this first matchup? I know that you guys were talking about it yesterday when you guys were having your podcast, saying that some of you guys weren't so excited about it because it wasn't really going to be a game that's counting. Others were looking forward to this one to kind of see a couple of the youngsters. Where do you guys kind of fall in regards to this game? Does it mean much, or is it just another one of these glorified friendlies to you guys?
I guess I'll start. One of the main things we're looking for is Javier Mascherano. His first game technically as the manager, so we're kind of curious to see his tactics, what formation he comes out in, how aggressive he might be playing, whether he's pressing high, which was something that, or playing with a high line, which is something we suffered with a lot last year when they would get caught on the counter attack. Our slow defenders couldn't catch up. So like those are the subtleties that we're looking for. For those wondering, Messi is gonna play. Now the question is how long he plays. I doubt he starts. He might come in maybe the 60th, 70th minute. You are going to see Messi. I don't know again how long he will play, but he is going to play. But unlike Club America, our teams, because of the salary cap in the MLS, aren't as deep as your teams. So our B team wouldn't come out and beat a team in the regular season. So we're not as excited to see our young draft picks here that we just drafted because they're not going to see any minutes during the regular season. So that's why some of us aren't necessarily thrilled for the preseason because unfortunately, if our starters don't play, you'll still see some backups that are going to get some playing time. But for the most part, like we're not as excited as obviously you guys would be, or like you said, the backups that come in after those 60 minutes that your starters play are players that are borderline starters also. Whereas in the MLS, it's not as likely that you see stuff like that. So that's why we're not as excited.
Okay.
Chris?
All right.
And I guess aside from that, like it's the biggest reason, and Danny mentioned it, is essentially we want to see Javier Mascherano in action, right? We go from having Tata Martino, who was sort of like this elevated great coach, to now we have a guy that's never had experience coaching a club, right? Aside from that, you kind of know what you're going to get from Messi, Busquets, and Suarez, and Jordi Alba, right? I don't think that they're going to see more than 20 minutes max in any game in preseason, maybe other than the last one that they're going to be having. But for the most part, I do think that everybody kind of wants to see what's the strategy going to be like. What's this coach going to do? I mean, the substitutions, we're going to be able to play all kinds of players at any given time of the game. So I think the focus is more on the coach, to be perfectly honest.
Well, that is interesting. I mean, you guys are kind of starting a new era with obviously your new manager, obviously, and then you guys want to see what that all is going to unfold like. Dylan, we're on the opposite spectrum of that, right? We just had a scare with our manager potentially leaving to Brazil, and we were able to lock him in. Obviously, a guy who has won us 6 titles in 2 years. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? The numbers are very much impressive. What is it that I think if you had to explain it to our Inter Miami listeners from an America perspective, what is it that we're looking most forward to this matchup in regards to our team and what we want to see from them?
Yeah, I think really, especially since it's going to be a good chunk of our starters, like you said, Ivan, a lot of them are going to play that 45, 60 minutes. And, some of these bench players coming in to get their feet wet too for this season. I'm just really curious to see, where this team kind of picks up, after like about a 2 week, 2.5 week break, especially since, they haven't played since that final on, not too long ago. It's really curious to see how it'll go for me because, we started the season playing this like back four line, and then we kind of switched it up and started going towards this back five. And so I just really want to see how that kind of shakes up and how didn't I really see the team, whether he sticks with it, especially I really kind of think he does, especially since we haven't really brought nobody in this transfer window. So I'm just really curious to see what that back line is going to look like and how strong it could be.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is something interesting about this preseason because obviously we weren't happy with the results that we were getting last season. I know it's crazy to think that I'm over here complaining about the fact that we ended up being champions, even though that we ended up in the position that we did in the table. Regardless, I do think we want to go back to seeing an America that's very dominant, an America side that's very well organized on the pitch and on the ball. And I do think that Jardine is trying to figure out what formation is going to work for him again. Is he going to go back to this 5-3-2 formation, or is he going to kind of fall back to his original 4-2-3-1, or is he going to find kind of an in between? Those are answers that I think we're going to get in this matchup, and so it will be interesting. And I do think that there's a lot of players in this squad that are potentially fighting for a starting 11 spot. You know, we talk about a Diego Valdez who has been below par ever since he looked like Mr. Glass, right? This past season, just always breaking for one reason or another. Um, can Aguirre El Buffalo keep performing and putting in goals? I think that's the important part to kind of demonstrate and to see, can this squad go and compete, or should we press that panic button, Dylan, and say, why haven't we brought in kind of more talent to bolster the squad?
Yeah, I'd
So
be interested to see where Davila fits in too. I mean, because he comes in from Russia, you know, he starts off pretty dang hot for the team. You know, he gets injured, and then remind me, I mean, did he come back for the second leg of that Cruz Azul game, and or was it the first leg
yes,
of the final? And we were just like, this isn't it. Like, this is not the dude. It wasn't for injury. Like, so it's just kind of
absolutely.
it'll be interesting to see where he plays out and what he's looking like.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying this is a special moment for the Americanismo, just because, like I mentioned, never really had a preseason with this squad. Never actually really had a preseason with this manager. Remember, Dylan comes in a couple of weeks after Thanos' resignation, and hey, you got to start the season already. Um, so yeah, all right, gentlemen, I want to ask something. Obviously, you guys know about big games, right? You guys already played in CONCACAF Champions Cup. You guys had that thriller against Monterrey. You guys know at stake what it is to go up against quote unquote CONCACAF giants.
Right.
But have you guys ever had a matchup in regards to a team with the caliber like Club America? Because I mean, not to toot our own horn here, but we are quote unquote the giant of the region.
Well, I mean, just a side note. We also had a Mr. Glass. He's no longer with the team. You guys still have this guy apparently,
Hmm.
and you guys are playing like half your like baby squad here. So, I mean, yes, you guys have been pretty competitive. I don't know as far as like I'm Danny. I'm pretty sure you're on it already. What's the stretch on them in the last year or
No, I
so?
wasn't looking at that. What I was gonna say is that we played against Tigres last year in League's Cup. We have the experience against Monterrey because we played Tigres in Houston, I want to say.
Yes.
So there was a big Tigres representation there in the stadium. We played in Monterrey last year, so I know America were the champs and America, and I'm
Yes.
sure obviously you guys are America fans, so you guys are the big dogs.
Yes, of
But
course.
I because of the experience we got with Monterrey and Tigres, I don't think it'll shake us much. I actually like that we're getting to play you right now because my
Absolutely.
hope is that when we get to Champions Cup, the way things are lined up, we have a pretty nice path to the semifinal where we would probably end up playing against Monterrey or Pumas. And if we make it to the final, it looks like America's on the other side. So I would love to get a look at your squad this weekend and possibly line up against you guys on June 1st for the Champions Cup final. So that's what I'm seeing this as. I'm seeing this as we finally get to see America and kind of envision what things could look like just 5 months from now. So that's what I'm looking at this game as.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Rivera put it perfect on the chat. He said a sparring match for a potential CCC final.
There you go.
Um, so yeah, it's obviously exciting whenever a team that has Messi. It's always an exciting game, regardless, right? I mean, the name's a name. It's always gonna be that.
Will you
Um,
guys be out there?
no, unfortunately, no. It's some family stuff came, but
Is there going to be a big America presence over there?
by far, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
This is actually the second time that America is going to be playing in Vegas. The first time they played was against Chelsea back in 2022. And that was
Yeah, I
still
think
a pretty big Club America presence there, even though it was Chelsea. So I expect it to be majority majority Club America fans on Saturday. I want to say maybe 60-40.
yeah, that's what I
Okay.
was thinking too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, there's not going to be a lot of Inter Miami fans going out there, but there'll be a lot of Messi fans for sure.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah, that's always a given.
Yeah.
But
So I can see that.
Well,
60 40.
that's been one of the things that a lot of teams have seen just across the country, more so on the West Coast than you see on the East Coast. Is it's a little easier to travel, but tickets have been very expensive for traveling fans, and the only people that are willing to fit the bill are the huge, colossal Messi fans who are willing to travel from the West Coast if they're on that side to to be able to go see him. So, that's where you'll see a little bit less of, the supporter groups versus the hardcore Messi fans.
All right. Well, I guess it definitely will be something interesting to watch on. This game actually is going to be available via TUDN USA
And Apple TV.
and Apple TV, apparently. Okay, nice. Well, that's going to be perfect. And I know for this might be just odd if you're maybe listening to this in Mexico and you're thinking, how can I watch this in Mexico? You can watch it through VIX for free. I just happened to see the announcement. So, yeah, there you go. If for whatever reason you're in Mexico that time and you want to watch the game, it's going to be free on VIX. So, there you guys have it. Uh, what was your guys' initial reaction when you guys heard about this matchup when both teams kind of announced it, right? That they're going up against each other. I want to ask the question to you guys, and then Dylan, I'll rephrase that question and ask it to you as well, because I think, like I mentioned, whenever you do play against a team that has Messi, it's always interesting. But your guys' perspective whenever this game was announced.
Well, I think that when this game was announced, it's essentially very Tory, right? Like a let's go over to the West Coast and have Inter Miami, have Messi play against the team out, from Liga MX, right? I mean, that's what it felt like. Now, again, it's kind of like what Danny had mentioned. It feels like, we're not going to get our full team for a long time. Everybody's going to have, a pretty good amount of minutes. So it's overwhelming in terms of finally we're going to be able to play against a team like Club America, especially before the big tournament. But at the same time, it's kind of underwhelming because we kind of know that it's like a preseason for us. You guys are kind of getting into the motions of your season. So maybe it's a little bit more important in regards to for Club America. But for us, it's like legitimately the first game that we're playing.
Yeah, we still got more than a month. We're still more than a month out.
Yeah. Go ahead, Danny.
No, we're still more than a month out of the season. Our first CCC game is on February 18th, and our season starts on February 22nd. So we still have a long way to go. So this is like we just started training on Monday.
Yes.
So like we're like fresh. So I think they're gonna take it slow with all the starters. That's why I said you might see Messi 20, 30 minutes maybe. They don't want to push anybody. Messi got injured during the preseason last year, so they definitely don't want to push him too hard. And when I first heard about this, what I was thinking is I was glad that it was in the United States, because last year we had that world tour where we went and we played in, what was it, Honduras, I think it was. Then we went to Saudi. Then we went to China. We ended in Japan, and then we had one last game here in Miami, and it was just wild. I was glad that we were staying in the States for the first game, and we're going around the Americas. We're gonna go to Peru. We're gonna go to Panama. I forgot the other country, also in Central America, and then we're finishing here in Florida. I'm just happy that we're staying in the Americas, because that world tour last year was a joke. It was. I get it, right? You got Messi. You're gonna try to milk it for all you can, but I mean, the world tour was a little silly.
All right, Dylan, I rephrase my question to you now. Whenever America does announce this, because this did come out of the blue,
Yeah.
It was during kind of the playoffs when they kind of dropped this on us, but kind of your take on, all right, we're starting, I guess, the season. We didn't know that this was going to be the case with the whole preseason. We just thought that it was going to be a game that was going to be thrown into the middle of our regular season, kind of like all the other friendlies that happened with America. But your thoughts on this matchup?
I just kind of took this. I mean, kind of like we said, like we were taking the opportunity. I think I mean, even regardless, it's their first preseason game. The first game back together for this. I think it was a good opportunity for this side because, like we kind of mentioned, there's a chance, that we can meet in Gonca Champions. And I just really need to test this water with these guys, especially coming out, like I've kind of mentioned, being able to see what Harden has in plan, what he has in stored. It kind of made me a little, I wouldn't say excited, but it made me a little bit, excited for the future because, with the way the game was going for the playoffs for America, it was like, okay, well, the club's staying ahead. I just thought, like I said, I was kind of a little weird that they dropped it off like during in the middle of everything too. But, we're here now, I'm looking forward to now, especially seeing like my guy, Henry Martin, hopefully he can do big things come Saturday. And so I'm just looking forward to it now at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it indeed. But let's get into the nitty gritty of this matchup. Actually, would you guys be willing to kind of predict a starting 11 for for Saturday, or do you guys think it's too new to actually even anticipate anything like that?
It's difficult because this week we're heavy on signings. We got Tadeo Allende that just got here today. Ustari, we're not sure if he's going to report. He is our backup keeper. If we don't figure things out with him before Saturday, they're going to have to recall Drake from the U.S. men's national team where he's training with them, and they're going to have to recall him to our team so that he could fill in on Saturday to be the keeper because at the moment, since Drake's away, we don't have a keeper unless Ustari signs. We have Maxi Falcon from Colo Colo in Chile. We just signed him today. So there's a lot of moving parts. We have no idea who's technically going to be on the roster by Saturday. Facundo Farias, what's projected to be our starting left winger, there's a lot of rumors that he might not be with us and that he might get it's almost like a trade 1 for 1 for a player from Racing in Argentina. So like it's hard to predict because of all the moving parts at the moment. What I can tell you is that I'm almost 100% sure that Messi won't be in the starting 11. Um, Suarez probably won't be in the starting 11. Like I don't think you'll see the four Barca guys, but I don't think they'll be starting. I think you're gonna see Julian Gressel. You'll see who else? Robert Taylor. I mean, names that you're probably not familiar with, but these are the backups or the fringe starters when anybody's injured. Like that's what you're gonna see. I think start the game.
Okay, I
Yeah,
mean it makes sense, right? I mean, new manager, he's trying to see what he has available, what he has to his disposal. I mean, on the other spectrum, I think Dylan, we're not too sure what our starting 11 is going to be like either. We do know that we're going to see majority of our starters, but again, is that going to be a 5-3-2? Is that going to be a 4-2-3-1? I am going to go and say that Harine reverts back to his 4-2-3-1, and maybe around the 60th minute tweaks it back to a 5-3-2, just to kind of see both sides of the spectrum. But yeah, I mean, obviously Malagon will be in net. That's a given. Henry Martin will be up top, and then Kevin Alvarez on the right. Who do you like for center backs with Sebastian Caceres, Dylan? You want no Ramon Juarez, so it's gonna have
Yeah,
to be. Oh
it's like
God, is it gonna be Nestor?
Nestor. I said,
Oh
gotta be
God.
Nestor. Yeah,
Okay, well, I guess he'll be Nestor. In the midfield, of course, Alvaro Fidalgo will be running the show, and then Sendejas on one wing and Brian Rodriguez on the other. Uh,
So you guys are going. You think you're starting your top 11 are going to start the game and play a solid amount of that game.
yes, absolutely. I think they get a good solid 40, minimum 45, max
yeah,
60.
So
yeah.
that might be really bad, like as far as aesthetics go for us, because we're probably not starting our regular 11. So those first 45, you might put up a couple goals, and we might not look as good. And I can't wait to hear all the fans react to that. So okay,
Oh yeah,
that's gonna be
they're
fun.
gonna want everybody out. I mean,
Oh Jesus,
I
Mascherano
believe,
out.
yeah, I believe that what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna see, Messi and Jordi Alba starting alongside a bunch of our
You think
alongside.
Messi and Jordi will start?
I think they'll start, and I think they'll start with a lot of our
Oh no,
younger guys
no way!
around
I don't
them.
think Messi starts at all.
And so, I mean, what? So you're gonna bring him on what in the middle of the game? I
Of
think you should
course.
start him, work him in with the younger guys, and then at that point, toss the game, bring in somebody else to play his position, and then you'll have Luis Suarez sprinkle in 20 minutes. I don't think that these guys are gonna play more than 15. So,
Dude, he's
in
not
my
going to start him. They're
opinion,
not going to take him off in the 15th minute, man.
listen, I think once you get a little bit of Messi, everybody's gonna be happy, excited, and then that's it. Let everybody go home early.
Ivan, do you think it's more exciting to see Messi start with the starting 11 or to see him take off
Come in
his
at the
warm ups
75th
and walk
minute.
in and check into the game in the 60th minute? I think that that's more exciting, right? The crowd will get going crazy when they see him about to check into the game.
Yeah, but I think it's a double-edged sword, right? Because it depends on how the game's going. I mean, if the
Oh,
game's 0-0 and you're bringing on Messi off the bench, you're gonna get in enormous eruption, right? Because you're thinking, all right, he's gonna be the game changer here. If America's up by 4 and you're bringing on Messi, I don't think people are gonna be like, well, a little too late now.
No, I think people still want to see him. I think that people, because again, at least for Inter Miami fans, I don't think we're worried about the result. Let me take that back. I'm not worried about the result. There's some Inter Miami fans that I'm sure going to overreact, but I'm not worried about the result. I just want to see how the team plays, and I just want to get out with no injuries because we got our first preseason game last year. We lost one of our key young players for the season with the torn ACL. I just want everybody to get out of there healthy. That's it. That's what I want.
I think both teams can agree to that, honestly.
Yeah,
America's been plagued with nothing but injuries this last season. So the last thing we want is to have anyone be stretched off. So, yeah, we're going to keep it simple, nice, and clean, and both teams walk out of it with no injuries whatsoever. That is the most ideal scenario.
Sure.
So it's interesting, right? Obviously, two different spectrums. I mean, regardless, if Miami does come out with a very B squad and America comes out with their full starters, I do think that this is an opportunity for these starters to gain momentum, gain some confidence, bag a couple of goals. Regardless, goals are goals, and confidence will go a long way. And even if it is just a preseason, because the way you have to look at it is next week you're right back into the action, Dylan. You have to go up against Santos, and so it's a very quick turnaround. And if you can get yourself going, even if it is off a preseason, then that's something to build on, and I think that's important.
Right.
So
honestly, I'm just looking forward to seeing if Messi's going to wear his Medal of Freedom whenever. I'll just say that. So.
That's a good one. Absolutely. That will be the question at hand.
They probably sent it over to him through DHL. It hasn't even gotten there yet. So.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to see. But one thing's for sure, anyone listening to this, don't worry. There's got to be Messi. How much Messi? No one knows. But there will be Messi, at least.
Yep. For sure.
So it should be fun.
Yeah,
should be great. Alrighty then. Gentlemen, any questions you have for us before I talk score predictions?
No, I don't have any questions. My only question was, were you guys gonna take it seriously, and were your starters gonna be playing? And now that you said yes, I'm like, oh man, our post game show is gonna be a mess.
Yes.
Well, we have to. It's our one and only game
that we have. Your season already started. You got to. Yeah, for sure.
So these guys have to get back into rhythm because they can't afford not to. And imagine in a world where your U23 team pulled up and got you 6 points, and you go in next week and you flatline and you don't walk away with 3 points. The criticism is going to rain heavily on these players. So they have to take this game very seriously.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. Well then, with that said, Dylan, I don't have anything else to add on before we talk score predictions. Do you?
No, I'm good.
Alrighty then, gentlemen. I open the floor to you guys. What is your prediction for Saturday's matchup against us?
If you're starting 11 plays against our B team, I'm gonna go 3-1, and I think Messi will send everybody home happy with a tap in somehow. So I'm gonna go 3-1 America, and Messi gets a tap in like the 82nd minute, just to send everybody home happy. All the Messi fans that came to watch him don't care that they lost, but they saw him score, and America is rolling into their season with a 3-1 victory. So that's how I think it's gonna go.
I'm not against that whatsoever, Chris.
I think if your full starting squad plays against Messi and a band of the kids, then I think it's going to be 3-2 that you guys win. If I don't think that your full squad doesn't start, and we have half of our starting squad playing a good amount of minutes, I'd say it's 30 to 40, then I'd say that we'd win 3-2 pretty handedly.
All right. I like the confidence.
Just giving you both sides of the coin. Listen, I'm going a lot easier than I typically do in these predictions. I mean, the only reason I'm holding back is because I have no idea how many minutes anybody's going to be playing. You might be getting one of our left wingers played 20 minutes in goalie.
Well, from the sound of it, you guys might need a goalkeeper.
Yeah, we only have
Dylan's available.
So there you
go.
Alrighty then. Well, Dylan, what's your prediction for Saturday?
Well, I hate to break the Inter guys' spirits and the Messi fanboys, but I think we shut them out and we grab a 2-0 win.
2-0. That's nice. That's good. Um, I mean, gosh, just with everything that we've been talking about, if you guys are coming in with this one as just with your B team and you're trying to figure out some players, and we're coming in with everything we got, I need to see this team demolish, you
Yeah,
know,
you
and
guys got to look good with
I
the
want to say four
circumstances. You
zero.
guys got to look good. Yeah,
I
you
want to say
got to
four
look
zero,
good.
but that's that just seems rude to me with
Just
guests
do it.
here, Dylan.
Just do it. Just do it. I do
No,
it all
no,
the
no,
time.
that's fine.
It's
I
not
will
rude.
tell you one thing though. If you guys beat us like 2-1, and you don't look very convincing, I'm looking forward to June 1st
Oh
because
yeah.
if you guys can't kick our ass now, we're gonna demolish you June 1st. That's all I want to just put out there.
All right, well, I like it. Well, let's do this. Would you guys be willing to put your Club World Cup ticket on the line on June 1st?
I don't have a Club World
Ooh.
Cup club ticket. That's
Yeah,
too
I don't
expensive
have
for
one
me.
either. Yeah,
No, no,
that's
you're
crazy.
the team, the actual team, Inter Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
Oh,
about?
you're talking.
Oh, you mean like change, like switch and let you guys play in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was up to us.
Yeah.
If it was up to you guys, would and I'm just
I
saying, if you guys
look,
are
like
that
I said,
confident,
I
we'd love a chance to get in there.
like I said, depends on how you guys look on Saturday. If you guys don't look convincing against our B team, you guys have a problem.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
if you guys go ahead and do what you said 4-0, then I'm like, okay, that's a good team. But if you struggle against our B team, because remember this is the MLS, B teams aren't very good in the MLS. So if you struggle against the B team in the MLS, then you guys might have a problem.
The A teams are underpaid already. The B teams are getting paid with food stamps and a Happy Meal.
Yeah. So
All right. Well, it'll be interesting. That is for sure. And look, we're looking forward to it. The game's gonna be pretty late, right? So it's kind of prime time for Saturday. It's gonna be 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. So,
that's gonna
like I
be
said, you
early
guys can
for
catch
us.
it on Apple TV, through the NA, VIX most likely as well in the States, just as much as it is going to be in Mexico. So, yeah, lots of places. And then make sure you guys follow both of our podcasts. We'll keep you guys up to date in regards to that matchup. And, yeah. Well, with that said, gentlemen, I really don't have anything else to kind of question you guys about. I'm excited for the game, and I'm excited to see both teams kind of face it off. And hopefully we do see each other on June 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the plan, man. We were very polite today. I can't wait to have a podcast where
Bring all
things
the
actually matter.
smoke. Bring all the smoke.
Yeah, when there's a final on the line.
That's it. That's what I want.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for taking the time out for coming out here. I know it's a little late for you guys over there, but absolutely just thank you so much for taking the time out. And like I said,
Yeah.
hopefully this is not the first and last time. Hopefully there's a little bit more times where we get
No,
to
no.
talk and repeat this situation.
Absolutely.
No, scratch us in the final week of May, preview show.
All right, we'll get you
Lock
guys
it
in.
in.
We got it.
We'll lock it in. All right, then. Well, again, for anyone listening out here and you guys want to get in contact with them, Daniel and Chris, where can they find you guys on your social media platforms?
We're Battered Herons in our English podcast, and if you want to listen to us in Spanish, Las Garzas CF, as we do the Spanish show also. So we are doing.
Well, I'll go ahead and finish off since his microphone completely disconnected. So yeah, just like you said, you can be able to go to Battered Herons on Twitter, and you can be able to go ahead and check us out at Las Garzas CF in Spanish. So we do cover Inter Miami in both languages. I mean, aside from that, we cover a couple other sports as well: basketball, football, and all kinds of good stuff. And then we also have our website, which is batteredfans.com, so you can be able to go ahead and check us out there. We try to have a fun time on our show. We cover the team, but at the same time, we like to give it a little sauce when it comes to getting the show. I think he got his entire computer undestroyed, and I spoke too soon. So
And he
there goes
destroyed it
Danny,
again.
and he destroyed his computer again. So shout out to Danny. I'll send a $5 IOU card so you can get a new computer. You there, buddy?
That's what happens when I start talking shit about Club America.
Yeah. You know?
There you go. It's all the producer in the backstage is working their magic.
No, no, no.
Alrighty, well,
All right.
thank
Well,
you guys so much again. This has been great. Again, best of
Yeah.
luck to you guys, and hopefully, you guys walk away with no injuries, just as much as we do.
Absolutely.
for sure.
Alrighty then.
All right.
Thank you guys again. We'll be back in just a moment. We'll be talking all things Club America in regards to the game against Querétaro and also the game against Cholos. So we'll be right back.